Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our Motors Squad and some of the members of our Safe Streets Task Force, and even some community members here. Thank you for being here today. We're glad to be here today to talk about a significant step forward in our progress to make Salt Lake City streets and even our sidewalks as safe as they can possibly be. I want to thank our residents, truly. Our residents, our community members, more broadly businesses, journalists even, and the Safe Streets Task Force folks have been so focused with us on traffic safety and what can possibly be done, what can be done outside of the box to make Salt Lake City's, all of our streets, safe. We have awesome neighborhoods. We have these small business districts in between. We have libraries and places that people want to go across the city. And they're all connected by our streets and our sidewalk system. And it should not matter what time of day or what mode of transportation people take. They should be able to do so safe and to move throughout the city without fear of lives being lost. But last year was particularly dangerous for Salt Lake City drivers, cyclists, pedestrians, and others who are using the streets because we had 26 traffic-related deaths last year. It's unacceptable. And Salt Lake City is doing more, but today we're here to announce that we're embarking in the process of becoming a member of the Vision Zero network. And we will be the first Vision Zero community in the state of Utah. Vision Zero is an ambitious and a national strategy to reduce, actually to eliminate, all traffic-related fatalities, severe injuries, while increasing the safety, the health, and increasing equitable mobility for all. Really, with 26 traffic-related deaths last year, how can we not set a goal of zero? We have to. The work to achieve a Vision Zero begins with a proclamation that I just signed this morning, and that kicks off a series of milestone actions for us that include the creation of a strategic plan, community engagement, and an ongoing task force to help develop the policies that are needed and the changes that are needed to generate whatever change we can to improve safety on our streets. Once we complete those next couple of milestones, we will officially be able to join the Vision Zero 45 other cities across the nation who are already doing this work with that ultimate goal of zero deaths and zero serious injuries due to traffic violence in Salt Lake City by the year 2035. That's another requisite of this program, that we set a year by which we intend to accomplish this. Vision Zero is not more of the same. It's really about change. It's a significant departure from the status quo process that cities typically look at traffic safety through because of two major things. One is that it recognizes that relatively minor mistakes by drivers shouldn't result in severe injuries and fatalities. It's also a multidisciplinary approach, which is atypical, bringing together diverse and necessary stakeholders to the conversation. And in a way, we've begun this last year when Salt Lake City put together the Safe Streets Task Force that includes local and also state transportation and public safety partners. In addition, you'll recall last year we reduced the speed limit on many city streets to 20 miles per hour. We're going to adapt that Safe Streets Task Force that we put together last year into the Vision Zero Task Force. And we'll keep working, though, with our partners locally. You as community members, thanks for showing up, Dave, you included, journalists, the people who are using our streets, whether to walk, bike, drive, everything in between. We need to do this together to think outside of the box. Joining this Vision Zero network and doing the work that it's going to take to get there will further solidify Salt Lake City's commitment to our safe streets on every street in the city. Thank you, Councilmember Dugan, for being here with us. We know that there's likely to be policy changes that will take the council participating with us and possibly budget items as well. So thank you for being here. Next, you'll hear from our Director of Transportation, John Larson, followed by Police Chief Mike Brown. And then we'll take some questions at the end.
Morning, everyone. I just want to thank the mayor for her incredible leadership on this, and for Councilmember Dugan and the rest of the council for their leadership and support on this. It's time. We need people to stop dying on our streets, and one is too many. And that includes also serious injuries, and that's why this is so important. And the thing that differentiates Vision Zero from other initiatives or programs or declarations is it's two things. And the first is, what my notes here. As the mayor mentioned, it recognizes that people make mistakes. I think that this idea that we expect everyone to be perfect users of the system at all times, we've realized that that's unrealistic and that's going to fail. You see this in other industries. Similarly, like with the electrical grid and the way that we use electricity in our homes. The GFCI plug. We finally realized that you have to design for people just making small mistakes. But we need to realize that we're not going to be able to just talk people out of that, and so we need to have a system that is forgiving, so that those small mistakes might ruin someone's day, but not their life. And that's what this is all about: is a more forgiving system. And particularly on city streets, the number one way to make our system more forgiving is to slow things down. And that has to do with the design, has to do with policy, has to do with enforcement. And then there's also other elements as far as education and reminding people to stop driving distracted. It's hard enough, even in the best of circumstances, to be as good of a driver as we need to be. And then the second way in which Vision Zero is different is that it's a truly multidisciplinary approach. And you see that with the support of law enforcement standing behind us. The Safe Streets Task Force, now rebranded as the Vision Zero Task Force, which will meet at least quarterly ongoing from here on out, includes staff from a variety of departments, not only in Salt Lake City, but also includes state partners, and we're very grateful for that partnership with UDOT, with their traffic engineers, traffic and safety, the state highway safety department, and others, including the Zero Fatalities campaign. So that includes multiple players to help with the communications and the education. And then here at the Transportation Division, we will continue to work endlessly to make the design of our streets safer, to give the visual cues for people to slow down and look out for each other. And to help provide more protection for a variety of modes for people walking and biking, taking transit, and just help to encourage people to do the right thing, to slow down and to look out for each other. And this is going to require a shift in mentality, that getting there fast is not the goal anymore, it's getting there safe. So thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for being here. As the mayor mentioned, in 2022, 26 people lost their lives in some sort of traffic crash here in our city. That number is far too high, and it's completely unacceptable. We need to do everything we can to make sure that our roads are safer. Our infrastructure here in Salt Lake City is quite unique. To eliminate all traffic deaths in our city, we need to be honest. Many of the roads in our city are not as pedestrian friendly as they can be. That's why I support Mayor Mendenhall. That's why we all are here to support Mayor Mendenhall on this ongoing initiative of increasing safe pedestrian access and making improvements to existing roadways that work to physically slow down drivers. Vision Zero will work to strategically prevent these tragedies from occurring on our streets. As police officers, we see some of the most unimaginable scenes, and many times those occur on our roadways. The Salt Lake City Police Department is committed to being proactive and prioritizing traffic safety. Our officers are out every day enforcing traffic safety laws. Is that right? A few weeks ago, an officer stopped someone on State Street, just south of downtown, driving more than 60 miles an hour. That's through our downtown corridor. That's more than double the speed limit. Of course, State Street is home to several school zones just south of there. Of the 26 people who died last year, they include a young girl, mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters. Our officers will never get used to knocking on a family's door to let them know that their loved one has died and will not be coming home. Let me tell you, that is an awful experience. Yet our officers remain professional and composed. And finally, I want to acknowledge the officers and the detectives who make up our crash analysis reconstruction team. Last year in Salt Lake City, they responded to 39 crash investigations. They were called out valley-wide to 95 crashes. They do an incredible job investigating these complex cases, and I'm proud of the work they're doing. I'm proud of the work we're all going to do here with Vision Zero. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Any questions?
Yeah, I guess what are some of the first steps? You mentioned, obviously there was 20 mile an hour last year. What are some of the next steps in advancing this goal?
The next steps are Vision Zero requisites of these milestones, putting together the task force itself, actually signing the proclamation, initiating the work. So we can't say at this moment, here are the policy changes or what you'll see on the ground. It's the convening parts that we have to really technically get together. And then we'll be able to tap into that Vision Zero network as well with those other 45 cities around the country. And I do expect that even though there's going to be great ideas coming out of the multidisciplinary local approach, that we'll also be learning from the actions these other 45 cities are implementing.
You mentioned policies that could come from the council. This might be one for Councilman Dugan, but what are some of the conversations happening right now between city leaders on this?
Well, I can say, and you're welcome to come up also, but the traffic calming measures has been an ongoing conversation with the council in every budget discussion, and we're even seeing it come up in some of the budget amendment conversations.
Thanks for the question. And recently, Director Larson and I have had a number of conversations on different ideas of what we can do to reduce the fatalities, reduce the opportunities or chances for those fatalities and accidents, from changing street lights, signaling type of videos, bulb outs, crosswalks. All those are on the table. School zones where instead of a crossing guard, you have a walking bus where parents take the kids to a walking bus. But all these things are on the table. And we've had some great conversations with communities and between the two of us on different ideas. And we're extracting them from across the city, across the states on different ideas. And I'm not going to go, what are they? What are some of them? No rights on reds, delayed signaling for crosswalking, all stop crosswalkings that are in some downtown areas, which allows people to cross all the streets. So there's a lot of things out there on the plate, and a lot of that stuff comes from Vision Zero, but it's also discussions that we've had even before we decided to join this. So I'm excited. I'm very excited about the whole process, and I think that the city should be also excited about engaging in this across the board. So thanks.
Thanks, Dan. I think you go into any city and look in their transportation division or department, and they're going to be looking at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's guidelines for how to measure whether or not there needs to be a raised crosswalk or an additional signal, or what those best practices are. And what you're seeing with this commitment we've made today is we have to go beyond that, and we can't just rely on what have been best practices when we have 26 deaths on our streets from auto-related incidents with our residents. It's not good enough. And so we'll keep using that for what it's worth, but we're going beyond. We have to get out of that box. Did I get you in trouble, John? National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is going to come after us, but anybody else?
I guess with UDOT's numbers last week, this obviously isn't an issue that's just to Salt Lake City. Every other area in the state is dealing with an increase in traffic deaths.
That's
Do you
right.
foresee other cities participating, and what would be the benefit of other cities joining this network?
Carter, thanks for bringing that up. We're not unique in the fatalities and the severe injury increases on roads around the state of Utah, and this is a yes and opportunity. So although Highway Patrol and Department of Public Safety have been a part of the Safe Streets Task Force work that's happened so far, this makes sense for cities across the state of Utah. So I hope that this will be an invitation and opportunity for us to not only work together but learn from each other.